Hey everyone, welcome to the second ever Radiotopia Listen In. I'm Julie Shapiro, coming to you from Arlington, Massachusetts, and I'm the executive producer of Radiotopia, and I'm here with a few other of the Radiotopia staff, including Ms. Audrey Mardavich, who's network
Hello.
director. We have Marielle Carricker, who is our marketing coordinator, is going to be handling some of the chat room dynamics today. Which, you know, in this day and age is actually a quite marketable skill to add to your list of many qualified talents. You are a Zoom chat room administrator at this point. Don't be shy about that. And of course, we have a very special guest with us this time, and that is Helen Zaltzman, coming to us from, where are you, Helen, exactly?
I'm in Brighton on the south coast of England, which is a very nice place.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm in an Airbnb, so the Wi-Fi is a bit shit. So if I disappear, just you can make your own fun. It's fine.
We have some contingency plans. Also, Helen said she would just Slack me and I could read her commentary if she drops off, but hopefully that won't happen.
It's going to be
Well,
fine.
you're managing to put your podcast out on their Wi-Fi, so let's hope that the Zoom call holds up as well. All right, welcome to Helen, and welcome to all of you. As I said, this is our second ever Listen In. We had a lot of fun on the last one, and so we decided to keep doing them because, well, really, why not? We have the time and the inclination. The idea, for those of you who weren't on the last one, is one that we've been kicking around about doing in real life, out in the real world this fall, which would be to travel around and gather Radiotopia friends and fans together to do some listening as a group and talking about audio. But with the pandemic upon us, we realized we could test the waters and see how that felt by doing some video calls. And this is also another way just to touch base with everyone and offer some distraction from whatever daily grind you are dealing with. But we really find that listening to audio as a group, it can be very powerful. And I think nowadays community means even more. So we're going to keep doing this, I think, about bi-weekly or weekly. Just keep an eye on the social channels and we'll let you know. Today, Audrey and Helen are mostly going to have a conversation about audio and chat with you all. And we will continue with what we're now calling a Radiotopia tradition, which is doodling based on prompts we will give you while you're listening. And so we're going to get started, but I will do just like a quick, almost like a pre-roll ad / internal cross promo for the next Listen In coming up in 2 weeks, where I'll be talking with Jody Avergan from our most recent addition to the Radiotopia Network, this day in esoteric political history. So mark your calendars for that, and we will tell you all about it. And now let's get going with today's Listen In.
Yay, thank you, Julie. Well, as Julie just mentioned, we're going to start with just a quick little doodle prompt. What did we say? Oh, draw a picture of something that you see right before you. Anything in your view. We'll just take like a few moments to do that and then we'll all hold them up. Hello, new people. We're just starting our first doodling prompt where we're drawing something that is right in our space before us. So if you have a pen and paper, please go right ahead, do a little doodle. And then in just a few moments, we're going to show them to each other. How do we feel? We good? All right. Everybody hold up your drawing. Oh, what? All right, I'm very curious about Barry. Oh, Barry, it's Zoom. Wow, okay. I was like, what is that? Scissors, lots of cups, windows. Helen, fake plant?
Oh, yeah, you see behind me. It's this one, just up there.
I love
I don't love it. You could have it.
it. Seems like we have a lot of fake plants. There's something that looks like either some type of Pokemon or it might just be someone's cat. I'm not sure. Caroline. It looks cute regardless. Kind of a stove. Nick Delaney. I'm not sure what that is, Nick. It looks fun.
Wow, some of you draw fast. Some good stuff.
Yes. I love it. Ooh, an expo. Very nice set. Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's just a little warm up. We're going to do some more drawing as we listen. But hi, Helen.
Hi. Thanks for having me. It's so nice to see everyone.
It's really nice to see everyone. I think probably all of you are familiar with Helen, but if you are not, Helen Zaltzman is a wonderful, amazing person who is also a podcaster and has been podcasting for a very long time. She does The Allusionist with us, with Radiotopia. And she has a couple other podcasts as well, the Veronica Mars Investigations and Answer Me This. And she's very multi-talented. She has been doing tons of live shows all over the place. But for now, while we can't do live shows, Helen, what have you been up to?
Well, it's I've been in this Airbnb in Brighton watering my fake plant and it never grows. I see that Barry is asking in the chat where Martin the Soundman is, and I can reveal that he is. Can you see him? There he is. He's just joined the chat. He was just recording a podcast a minute ago. Yeah, I've been in Brighton and going on cliff walks and making these sort of bonus, not illusionist episodes, so that I don't know. It's basically like to make words detached from meaning, so that if you have a lot of negative words going around in your brain, you've got something to tune them out a bit, and then maybe you can go to sleep. And also, it's just a bit of fun.
I love it because it's also the opposite.
But now I just. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Speaking over you.
No, go ahead. I couldn't work out
saying,
whether it had frozen or whether you were just being very still.
Hopefully I'm not frozen. But I was just, as you said that, I'm just having words detached from meaning. I'm realizing it's kind of the opposite of what your show normally is.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to write when it doesn't have to mean anything, though. Should have done this years ago. But today I did the first interview for when The Illusionist comes back, and it had been a couple of months since I interviewed someone, and I was like, oh God, how is this done? What do I ask people? How do I use my brain? Because I'm trying to figure out when the show comes back next month what to put on it, because I had quite a lot of things in the pipeline, some of which I'd been working on and off for a while, and now it just feels like maybe those are not the things that people need at the moment. So it's trying to figure out how to provide content that is escapist, maybe, and a bit of a relief from what people are going through, whilst not ignoring everyone's current reality. So I'm not sure where that balance is, but I've got a month to figure it out.
Yeah, so. Helen and I were talking about how, if you have any ideas, that we were thinking, like, if any of you are fans and regularly listen to Helen's show, you were saying, Helen, how you would be interested to hear from people later on, how they think you should come back, and what the show could look like, or what people who are regular listeners might want after all of this, so be thinking on
what's
that.
Useful.
Yeah.
I'll take your ideas and explode them.
Let's get in here. So we listened to some audio in this little event that we have here. We have a couple of clips and two different podcasts. And so I'll ask you, Helen, to first set up the first clip that we're going to listen to.
Yeah, I just wanted to listen to some stuff that is funny and silly today, and a bit of a, just a bit of a distraction. So the first clip is from the Beef and Dairy Network podcast, which I bet several of you have heard, and it's sort of like a fake agricultural magazine show about the beef industry, and it's made by someone called Benjamin Partridge, who I got to know in a really weird way, because when we started Answer Me This, so this is going back to 2007, I think he must have just graduated or something, and he would send us questions. And he once sent us a question: is it weird to want to go on holiday to Bremen in Germany? And he ended up going on holiday to Bremen in Germany and recording us a little thing about whether or not it was weird. So he answered his own question. But that's how I know Benjamin. And then in the last few years, he started the show that it's a lot of comedians just improvising these characters where everything is related to beef.
Or dairy.
And dairy, yes. Very occasionally poultry.
Yeah, I had never heard this. It's very funny. And let's listen in our little drawing prompt for while we listen. Helen, do you want to say what it is?
Oh, yeah, draw a cow.
Draw a cow while you listen.
This episode of the Beef and Dairy Network podcast is brought to you by Beef Encounters, the only beef industry-specific dating app that hasn't been entirely hijacked by perverts. We're so sure our app works that if after a month you haven't found a partner, or at least someone who doesn't deny knowing you in public, we'll refund your payment in full. And for this month only, new subscribers can claim a 10% discount if they use the code I'm Alone. Beef Encounters. Because if they don't love beef, how can they love you?
Hello, and welcome to the Beef and Dairy Network podcast, the #1 podcast for those involved, or just interested, in the production of beef animals and dairy herds. After hearing about the struggles to find love faced by those in our industry, we here at the network partnered with tech company Data Harvest to create Beef Encounters. Earlier this week, I was joined by a couple who met using the app.
Hello, I'm Tessa, and I am a milkmaid.
I am Bob Truskovic, and I am a specialist bovine arse vet.
Great, well, thank you both for coming in. Now, you're obviously loved up. Look at the two of you.
Oh, can you tell?
Yeah, your hands are all over each other to the degree where it's a little bit uncomfortable for me.
Sure.
It's hard for us to contain it.
It is an exciting time.
I wanted first really to talk to you about how Beef Encounters changed your life and kind of how your life was before you found Beef Encounters and what your love life was like then. And I have the sense that, Tessa, you found it quite hard.
It's very hard. It was pretty sad and lonely,
So just to explain to the listeners, you call yourself a milkmaid.
Yes,
but,
I'm a milkmaid.
I mean, from here I can see those hands are...
Yes, they're very gnarled.
Made for milking.
Yeah, they are literally made for being a milkmaid. Yeah. Yes, I'm covered. I would say 90% of my hand is just sort of toughened skin.
Yeah.
And you do pick up, obviously, diseases from the
Yes, but it's hard to tell the difference between the callus parts and the pox.
Yes, I'm proud of that. I don't wear gloves. A lot of milkmaids, there's quite a lot of shame, actually, in industry, and they will wear a glove. Sometimes they paint their own hand on the glove, so they, people don't realise. But I proudly wear my poxed callous hands because I am a milkmaid. But it's very difficult to, bring that up on a dating situation. You can imagine,
Do you think men look at your hands when you're on a date?
Yeah, I think it's one of the first things. I know men don't like to admit it. Bob won't admit it, but it's the first thing men check out. Of course it is, your hands.
Of course it is.
It's quite upsetting to talk about it. But some men have been... very, very, very rude, very harsh, very judgmental. And, we live in this social media age where everyone wants Instagram-friendly hands. And, you want that shot of you holding hands. And a lot of men would reject it immediately.
It's fear of the unknown as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
What, it's not just the hand, but what does the hand lead to?
What's up
what
the
else
arm?
Is there?
What's, under the pinny? And
beneath the pit.
Yeah, it was very difficult until I met, Bob's the least judgmental person I've ever met. He's he's a Jesus figure, you know. He doesn't judge. He turns over tables. He's that kind of man.
Well, you spend your 10,000 hours up against a cow's arse, then you learn a bit of humility, sure.
Incredible. All right, everybody, on the count of 3, hold up your beautiful cow photo. 1, 2, 3. Holy crikey. That is so good, Brooke. Incredible cow. Oh my gosh, I could not. Julie's so good too. Good head shape. I couldn't get the head right here. Really bad.
I realised that I'd forgotten what cows look like, apart from being very rectangular.
I completely forgot.
I've seen so many cows in my life.
So good.
Bonus Radiotopia points for anyone who drew their cow with leather pants on.
Oh, so good.
And if you haven't heard the most recent episode of Everything is Alive, I recommend it. And then you'll get the joke.
I agree. Good job. Excellent cows. That podcast
Very
is
proud of you.
amazing, extremely British.
Yep.
Do you agree, Helen?
Oh, yeah. I don't know why a country would think to make a parody show about beef, but I don't have the imagination.
It works. Lots of episodes. The Instagram friendly hands comment was so good. All right. Well, we're running out of time. Oh, yes, please, Julie.
I just am curious, Helen, like, does that show have a cult following? Is it hugely popular? Like, who listens to it? And is it appreciated as it should be, broadly speaking?
I think in Britain, people know it's meant to be a joke, and but it's part of the Maximum Fun Network. And Benjamin said when he went over there were people who were not sure whether it was real. I think maybe because we have the accent privilege in the States, so people just assume that what we're saying is truthful, even though I think the British have given you so many reasons not to trust us. So maybe there's that. I'd also imagine that if English is not your first language, then people talking about being cowfished you might not pick up on things like that.
So do you want to set up our next clip, Helen?
Yes. So the next clip is the beginning of the audio comedy drama Gay Future, which I listened to last year on the recommendation of Jess O'Callaghan, who is one of the people who runs Audiocraft in Australia. And I don't think I'd heard a piece of audio fiction that made me laugh this much in a really long time, but also it was very well produced. It's just 3 people in a room, but they really create these different scenes using sound, and also they've got a banging theme tune, which you're just about to hear.
Yes. All right. So for this drawing prompt, while we listen, Helen has a birthday coming up, and so I thought that we could all draw Helen a birthday card.
Thank you.
And we'll take a listen to Gay Future.
The year is 2062 and everyone is gay. The oppressive gay agenda rules over what's left of North America. The rest of the world submerged in water. Not due to global warming, but because of other stuff. The remaining population turned homosexual through genetic modification of food, chemtrails, and realistic depictions of same-sex couples on premium cable. A rebel band of heteros is growing in the East, and our young hero is about to learn the powerful straightness that grows inside him. Welcome to the world of Gay Future.
Welcome to the future, bitches.
Chapter 1, Gay Academy. Mikey stood on the porch of St. Ray Jepson's home for wayward children. The orphanage had been his only home for the past 15 years, but now, along with his fellow orphan Deb, Mikey was forced to say goodbye to the old leaky place. Like all children gifted enough to earn acceptance into the prestigious Gay Academy, Mikey was now off to the bustling metropolis to learn to become a functioning homo of his queer society.
Hey, Deb. How's it going?
Hey, Mikey, right?
Mikey is right. So freaking right. I know you're heading off to lesbian school and I'm going to Gay Academy, but I was thinking, I don't know, maybe you could sign my orphanage yearbook?
Or maybe you could turn around, walk over there, and never talk to me again? Thanks.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh my god, I'm totally kidding. Of course I'll sign it.
Like, I didn't know you were so funny, though. That's
wow,
crazy.
It's all blank.
Yeah, no, I just haven't asked any of the other kids yet. Totally not, because they all hate me.
Hey, Mikey, where are your parents?
Dead, Jason. Like all of our parents. That's how orphans work.
Incredible.
I maybe should have set up at the beginning that it's all based on the idea that it's a fantasy dystopia novel written by Mike Pence, where everyone is forced to be gay.
An important, but also, not so important
Right.
setup. All right, so I hope everybody had a moment to do some drawing as well. I know it's so quick, the turnaround. But everyone on the count of three will hold
You've shown that you can do it, though.
our chart. 1, 2, 3. Oh, some people made.
Oh my what?
Oh, real.
Oh my god.
Actual Meryl made an actual card. Oh
This is
wow,
incredible.
Meredith Johnson. I think maybe that's watercolor. I don't even know what I'm seeing here.
Leo Mindell's got like a light up sign.
Oh my gosh.
This is very comforting because I was kind of pre-depressed about my pandemic birthday next Wednesday. But you've made it a lot better already. I like Brooks with the HZ on the sign. Julie's is this extraordinary vortex. Oh, Parella. I can't see them all at the same time. I'm going to study the screen grabs after. You've really...
Yeah, this is good. We got some radios. I love this.
You've really put this birthday on the map. Martin has just handed me a birthday card he's drawn of an egg in a top hat without a face. And gloves. It's formally dressed. Thank you very much, Martin. In answer to Nick's question, no, we haven't seen Nick Cave yet. I guess because we're only allowed out for one walk a day. And I don't know if he doesn't seem like an outdoorsy person, does he?
No, definitely an indoor guy.
Yeah.
What did everyone think of Gay Future? Did we love that? I loved it. Incredible theme song. Helen, have you ever thought about dabbling in the fiction genre?
I don't think I have that much imagination. But I'm sort of curious. I was talking to James Kim of Moonface about maybe doing something, but I feel like it could be, when we retire, then we'll have time to do it. But I don't feel like I have a great knack for stories, so I admire it when other people do.
I would disagree.
Oh, thank you, Janita. You're very generous. Well,
we have just like a few minutes left, so I definitely if you want to ask Helen a question or you have a comment, please raise your hand. We would love to hear from you. We can also just take some questions in the chat.
I see Jessica asking about if I found interesting or fascinating etymologies. And yeah, I find them all the time. I also find ones that are very disappointing all the time, where you think, well, this would be great, and then it isn't, because it's kind of meant the same thing for 2,000 plus years. But I found today, this is not like the best one I've heard, but I was surprised. I looked up the word custard, and it meant originally a meat or fruit pie. So that's quite a shift in what that means.
Meat or fruit pie, interesting. Love it.
I see Rachel saying, what would you recommend to people thinking of starting podcasts? I would recommend I think you can. I would recommend not finding out too much about it, because I think you can really scare yourself to the point where you never start. I'd recommend finding either some people to collaborate with, or some people where you're all planning to start roughly the same time. You're just accountability buddies, and you can also share information and support each other. And then you just need something to record on and some editing software. And you need to push through the pain barrier of the early episodes not maybe being as good as you want them to be, but you still have to like do them and release them and then make another one. That's how you get better, rather than waiting to be great straight out the gate, I would say.
Totally.
Accountability buddies, yes, Christine, yes. It's cumbersome, but I'll allow it.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Ooh. Some advice to you, Helen, or a suggestion for the show. Wonderful. Let's see. What else?
Brooks asking, do I set up my tours myself? In the US, we have a tour booker, which is handy, but in other countries we don't. So most of the gigs we've done, last year we played in the UK and New Zealand and Australia, and that came about because the year before I just put out on the Allusionist, I was like, we're going to go to Australia and New Zealand, so if you run a venue and you'd like us to perform there, could you get in touch? And people did, and then I had to cancel most of those gigs because I got hospitalized. But this year they were willing to do them again, and they also knew other people in other cities, so we managed to put quite a lot of tour together. But in Britain I don't know many venues at all, so I only did one show in Britain last year, which was a bit rude, and we were thinking of maybe doing a spring tour this year and didn't get around to organizing it, and that's lucky because we would have had to cancel it. So yay for being too lazy.
This time has really flown by. It's already 5. And so I want to just say thank you, Helen, for joining us.
Well, thank you.
And sharing some fun audio.
I have really enjoyed all your company and your art.
And I will say that if you have more questions, we'll have a record of this, and maybe Helen, if you're up for it, you could do some tweeting or some things, or we have a little hashtag for this, so we can, and always feel free to tweet at Helen in Radiotopia. And thank you all for joining.
I love answering questions.
We're going to be, if you missed the beginning, we're going to be doing more of these listen-ins with Radiotopia, and the next one is April 30th at 4:30 Eastern again. And our executive producer, Julie Shapiro, will be speaking with Jody Avergan. He's the host of the newest Radiotopia show, This Day in Esoteric Political History. And so thanks, everyone, and I hope, Helen, that you have a wonderful birthday. Do you have any more concrete plans for your birthday?
It's difficult to figure out how to make it different to every other day at the moment.
This is really Martin's task, I would say. I would say that you don't really need to be. He
gets very scared.
I would say this is not your.
He says we can go for 2 walks rather than 1.
Thanks, Helen, and thank you, Martin, and thank you all for joining us. And we hope to see you all again very soon.